Hey everybody, today I want to take a look at 4 different adjustable scope mounts. With the modern day air rifle, the premium air rifles are shooting farther and farther and farther out. But scopes are not necessarily keeping up with our demand. We reach out to say 250 yards and we're cranking on these dials. So one of the ways to stop from potentially damaging your scope or running it all the way out to its end on the turret is with adjustable scope mounts. And they will tilt your scope so that it's looking at a different point of impact for you further down range. So what you see here is the FX No Limits, the Eagle Vision scope cam, and these two are by Sports Match. And what you'll notice is the difference in here. These ones basically just elevate. These ones will elevate and they'll also turn your scope from left to right. As far as price goes, the FX rings are $70. The Eagle Vision is about $60, give or take. And then the Sports Match, these are the ATP 61, they're $95. And the ATP 66 is $163. That's a lot of money to spend on scope mounts when you can get a fixed set for about 15 to 20 bucks. And, you know, that's why I'm making this video. If you guys are going to get some adjustable mounts, maybe see what to expect. So let's take a look at how they work. The FX No Limits are pretty simple. They've got an Allen screw right here. These two are for attaching to the rail. Once you attach to the rail, you loosen this one and allows the mount to move up and down. The Eagle Vision works much the same way, except it has 2 Allen bolts. The Sports Match rings work quite a bit differently. They've got these 2 recessed Allen screws on the side. The 2 non-recessed ones are for your clamp system, for your dovetail. You loosen those up a little bit. Good. They have a 3rd Allen screw right here. And when you run that Allen screw in, that little set screw, it pushes up on the bottom of the mount. That's about maxed out, so not a whole lot of adjustment here. With the second style of Sports Match, it works basically the same way, where you have this set screw to push the mount up and down. And you also have another set screw here on the side, and that's for pushing the mounts left to right. You can see all the space right in here. So why would you need scope mounts that go left to right? Well, if you have a rifle and you're shooting, and no matter what scope you put on it, no matter what rings you put on, you always seem to be shooting, say, just for example, to the right, close range, and to the left at far range, your scope may not be perfectly parallel to your barrel. Now, it could be your barrel, it could be your mounts, it could be the correlation between the two. Doesn't really matter. When your barrel's sitting there kind of doing this, okay, that's basically what's going on. Is you're going to be shooting over here on close range, your zero is going to be dead on, and then at far range you're going to be off to the other side. And this is one way to combat that. Hopefully you don't have that problem because these are very expensive. But if you're struggling with that, that might be a path to take. That's basically all that these expensive ones are for, is correcting that scope issue from left to right. So other than that, they just basically work the same, and they have about the same elevation adjustment. So I'm just going to put those aside, and we're going to look at the other ones. Let's start with the FX No Limits. As I said, these are real easy. I'll get them mounted up with a scope in them, and I'll see you in a minute. So I've got my scope mounted in my FX mounts, and I'm not going to bother leveling left to right because I'm going to have this scope in and out a bunch. But what I did actually do is I leveled it so that the top turret should be at 0. Okay, so that's level. And I'm going to put these scope mounts in the same spot, all 3 of them, and then go through the adjustment process, and we'll see how much adjustment we can get out of them. If you wanted to get more adjustment out of your scope, out of your adjustable scope rings, just bring them closer together on your scope. So the FX rings at maximum adjustment gives us 1.7 degrees of adjustment. I like the FX no limits because of how simple they are to use. I kind of like that they use one Allen key for all mounting parts. So mounting to the dovetail and actually mounting the scope is all one size Allen key, and then your arc adjustment is another Allen key. I also like how big that bolt is, so you can really get on it and know that your scope is going to stay in that same spot. The price point on the FX rings is really not bad for what you get. We got 1.7 degrees of out of level adjustment, and that number would go up if I brought these in. You can see what I did here. The same FX mounts, I just brought them in closer. Before we had 1.7 degrees of arc. Now we're going to max out. And you can see we're at 2.5 now. So that gave me almost another full degree, which downrange is a huge difference. These are the Eagle Vision Infinity FAE S50. That's a mouthful. The adjustable scope mounts by Eagle Vision Cam. Now we should be set to 0 here. Okay, now that we're set to 0, let's see what our adjustment is. Maximum adjustment is 2.4. Some of the things I like about the Eagle Vision scope mounts versus the other ones I'm showing you is the top has a Picatinny mount. So if I needed to have a rifle with this adjustment to it and wanted to mount, say, a laser or a flashlight or something like that, I have the ability to do so with these. Also, on the Eagle Vision website, you can get accessories that screw into these little holes on the side. One of those is a level. And it just screws right in. And just like that, you've got a level that you can use to help keep yourself shooting straight. Downside to this level is it's a little bit fragile, and if you put this in a soft case that compresses your gun and kind of sandwiches it between two pieces of foam, you're putting an awful lot of stress on that level. So you have to remember to take it out when you put your gun away in the case. Last up is the Sports Match ATP 61. All the adjustments on my side, and there's 2 screws that have to come off, have to loosen on each mount, and then you run the set screw in. Then you tighten it up. So we only got 0.6 on the Sports Match. Now, as I said, if you need to get more out of something like this, bring them in closer together. So the Sports Match kind of let me down there with less than 1 degree of adjustment. Another downside to the Sports Match is that you need 3 Allen keys in order to make them work. One for mounting, one for the lockdown screws, and the third one is the set screw that makes the adjustment. On the positive side, they come with the Allen wrenches that you need as a package deal. Also, the instructions are on the back, so if you lose your place, you forget how they work, you just go to the back and see how they work again. Another positive note, for me anyway, is the styling on the Sports Match. They rounded over the edges, they have just a nice, sleek looking design to them that is appealing to me. That's all I've got for you for this video. I want to thank you for watching, and I also want to encourage you to go onto the internet and take a look around. There's other manufacturers of adjustable scope rings, and you might find a style that I don't have here that fits your needs. As always, happy shooting.